with the student representative reports. We have one in person and one online, it looks like. So we'll start in person. Do you have a mic? Mr. Tabor, can you pass your mic to?
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Christian Bika and I am the student representative for Central High School. I am pleased to share some updates on the progress taking place at our school this past month. In February, our school held a month-long celebration of Black History Month, concluding with a large assembly which was held last Friday. The event featured guest speakers, performers, and student speakers who helped highlight the importance of the month. Also, several of our history classes collaborated on projects that were displayed throughout the library as part of a gallery walk, allowing students to learn and reflect as they explored the exhibits. Athletics have also been a major point of pride for our school. Both our boys and girls basketball teams qualified for the state playoffs after tremendous seasons. Our cheerleading team also recently competed in the CIA state competition. As winter sports wrap up, we are now preparing for the spring sports season, with teams like volleyball currently holding signups and tryouts. We have also been focusing on student safety. Recently, our school has been hosting safe driving presentations from the Save a Life tour to address dangers of texting and distracted driving. These students, like I, were able to participate in a driving simulator to better understand the risks involved. Looking ahead, counselors and administrators are currently working with students on scheduling and course selections for the 2026-27 school year. Counselors are also meeting with students to help them plan balanced course loads and prepare academically for the upcoming year. As we move into March, our school is celebrating Women's History Month while continuing attendance awareness initiatives. And as the co-president of Interact Club, we recently organized another successful collection for the Bridgeport Rescue Mission, helping support members of our local community. Students, including underclassmen, are also preparing for upcoming standardized testing, including the PSAT and SAT. Many students are using programs such as Reading Plus and Khan Academy to help straighten their skills in advance of these exams. Additionally, on February 17, 2026, I had the opportunity to be part of a small group of students from Central who attended an ad hoc assembly meeting in Hartford to advocate for updated funding for Bridgeport Public Schools so that we can better support our students and staff and everyone part of the community. That was a tremendous experience. I thank everyone for putting it together. We are also proud to share that several of our students were recently selected by our advanced placement chemistry and physics teacher, Mrs. Jill Vital, to participate in the Yale University School Olympiad for high school students interested in STEM and willing to partake in it. Finally, senior milestones are well underway. Senior portraits have been distributed to all the students, and we are currently finalizing purchases of caps and gowns as the class of 2026 prepares for graduation. Thank you. So,
Thank you. And then we have Deborah Braga Silva online.
Good afternoon. I'm representing Bridgeport Military Academy, and I'm a junior. So I'm going to provide an update on several important events, achievements, and instructional initiatives taking place at Bridgeport Military Academy over the past several weeks. On February 19th, 2026, our Navy JROTC battalion held its formal change of command ceremony. During the ceremony, several cadets earned well-deserved promotions. Cadet Lieutenant Junior Adriana Shakespeare was promoted to Cadet Executive Officer and assumed the role of Chief of Staff. Cadet Lieutenant Junior Juvacia Wilson was promoted to Cadet Lieutenant and became the battalion commander. Cadet Master Chief Petty Officer Zahai Hall was promoted to the Cadet Ensign and stepped into the position of Executive Officer. Additionally, Cadet Senior Chief Petty Officer Chloe Lopez was promoted to Cadet Master Chief Petty Officer and became the Senior Enlisted Leader. The ceremony reflected the professionalism, discipline, and the leadership development central to our JROTC program. On February 27th, 2026, we proudly held our In It, Win It celebration. Recognize outstanding members of our community. Adriana Shakespeare as a student of the quarter, Mr. Hanif as teacher of the quarter, and Chief Kamola as community member of the quarter. Each of those individuals exemplifies hard work, leadership, and position contribution to the BMA community. Several weeks ago, and again last week, groups of BMA students traveled to Hartford to speak as part of the statewide education hearing. 5 students participated last week, and 2 more went earlier, representing the school with maturity and civic engagement. Many students and staff also submitted written testimony as part of the class assignment, demonstrating strong understanding of government process and advocacy skills. On March 5th, our First Responders Academy held promotion ceremony recognizing 4 students for successful completing their requirements and advancing to the next level within the program. The ceremony highlighted their dedication to the public service careers and their growing skill sets. On March 7th, 5 Navy cadets traveled to New London High School to compete in the NJROTC Brain Brawl, an academically rigorous competition based on knowledge, strategy, and teamwork. Our cadets represented Bridgeport Military Academy with honor, discipline, and pride. As we approach statewide testing, we are now 5 weeks away from SAT and PSAT. The students have been engaged in weekly practice using Khan Academy and Reading Plus to strengthen their foundation skills and improve reading and math. Staffs have been closely supporting students to ensure meaningful academic gains. Additionally, we are now in week 3 of BMA's After School Enrichment ASE program. Swimming and lifeguard lessons take place every Thursday, offering students opportunity to build confidence development, life-saving skills, and engage in healthy physical activity beyond the school day. Thank you for your continued support of the students, staff, and program of Bridgeport Military Academy. Those recent weeks have been highlighted with strength, dedication, and growth of our school. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. We have one more in person. Can you pass your mic over again, Mr. Traber? Uh,
So in May, our Harding Drama Club is putting on its first full-scale theater production called She Kills Monster. The performances are Friday, March 13 and Saturday, March 14, and it's open to the community, and the tickets are $5. We also have HOSA, who is sponsoring a karaoke night on March 19 from 4 to 6, and the theme is Glow and Dark, and the tickets are $5. We have our medical and forensic classes that will be visiting the University of Bridgeport Cadaver Lab to get some hands-on on experience and connection with their future career paths. And we have a girls basketball team who also made it to state for the first time in the last 9 years. We have Rihanna Robles, a star player on the team, who received an honor as an athlete of the week through the state of Connecticut. And she is a leader, and we're also proud of her for her hard work. And we'll also have we have a hoarding debate team who won the Black History Month debate, and this happened in February. We have our senior receiving their college's decisions, and our principal, Mr. Thompson, and the senior committee are planning on recognizing the seniors who will be commuting to college on May 1st. We will have a guest speaker in the auditorium and a slideshow with all the seniors. And finally, we have our senior committee organizing a couple of fundraising to raise money for the senior trip, which will be around May and June. Thank you.
Thank you to our students. I want to thank those of the students. I know there's some here who actually went to the Capitol last week and the couple weeks before for your testimonies. I know that was mentioned in the reports, but thank you for coming out and supporting us or supporting yourselves, I guess. So we'll move on to public comment. We have one person today, Jennifer Gaines. You're up 2 minutes once you're ready. Please turn your mic on. Yeah.
Still not working. Oh, is it working? Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, good evening, board members. My name is Jennifer Gaines, and I'm a parent of 2 young children in the Bridgeport School District. I've spoken here before, and it was probably in opposition of something or criticism, but today I just wanted to come forward to say thank you. Thank you for your leadership you have shown in putting Bridgeport's children first and in continuing to stand up for what is right. First, I want to recognize the Bridgeport students who spoke so powerfully at the Education Committee's public hearing last week in Hartford. It takes tremendous courage to sit before legislators and advocate for what is just, but you did so with so much poise and conviction. So I'm here to say that our Bridgeport community sees you, we hear you, and we stand with you. So please keep that pressure on and keep advocating for what is right because your voices really matter. And Dr. Avery, thank you for your steady leadership, especially stepping into your role after such abrupt and turbulent transition. It takes a lot to be in your seat, really it does. And for someone who is still here in the trenches with us, it shows incredible dedication and commitment. So thank you. To the board, thank you all for your countless hours of volunteerism and for your unwavering commitment to show our children what's most important and keeping their interest of our students, our staff, and our faculty first. And to our teachers of Bridgeport, there will never be enough words of thanks. You show up for our children every single day, sometimes working extra hours and facing challenges that many of us never see or hear of, but you still give it your best. And as a mother, I am deeply grateful for the love that you pour into your profession and for all the efforts you make to ensure that our children receive a good education. So please don't give up on us. We will keep fighting for you. And finally, to any of the elected officials listening, either local or in Hartford, we are paying attention. The overwhelming response from Bridgeport and our surrounding communities should speak more loudly than any words can ever say. As I said in my testimony before the Education Committee, the people spoke. And we sincerely hope that you heard us and that you choose to do the right thing, that you invest in our children and you stop with the political excuses and choose to be on the right side of history and finally show up for our children in Bridgeport. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gaines. To the approval of minutes from the regular meeting on February 9th, 2026. Is there a motion? Moved by Mr.
So moved, Mr.
Dina,
So second.
second by Mr. Benningham. Is there any further debate, discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Mrs. Sokolovic abstains. That passes. Next, we'll have the chairman's report. So you've all received, board members, you've received emails forwarded from the deputy commissioner. The State Department of Education has communicated updates with us that have been shared with you. In regards to the board, our update is before we can post for a permanent superintendent, the board must update its bylaws and administrative policies related to the role and evaluation of the superintendent. Once those updates are approved, the board must formally notify the State Department of Ed. Completing this work will demonstrate that the board has taken the necessary steps to operate efficiently and effectively in support of a permanent superintendent. The State Department of Education has also selected David Irwin, who's on the technical assistance team. We've all met him, to serve as the commissioner's designee to assist us in the development of the search criteria and the implementation of the superintendent search process once those requirements are met. I personally reached out to Mr. Irwin to schedule a meeting so we can begin discussing this, the next steps, and ensure the board is moving forward in alignment with those expectations. Good. Um, if board members have questions related to the superintendent search, I'm asking that you share them in the search committee email. Or we can schedule an actual search committee to meet and discuss this in further detail. To respect the current leadership, I ask that we're not going to discuss this in too many details right now, but rather within a search committee. On a separate note, I do want to reiterate that I want to give thanks to our students, our teachers, administrators, parents, and our partners, community partners, who took the time over the past month to travel to the Capitol or provide testimony online in support of education funding. We had 3 committee public hearings that many people spoke at, and it was really inspiring to finally see a long list of Bridgeporters testifying and submitting the testimony as well to ensure that our voices are heard here in Bridgeport. To our students, there's a special thank you. Reiterating what Ms. Gaines said, your testimonies were personal, thoughtful. You represented us with courage and eloquence as you shared your experiences and answered questions from legislators that probably shouldn't have been directed towards you, but you answered them gracefully. So I know they're not in the room right now, those students, but I do want to thank them. I also want to pause and say Mr. Daniels has joined online. Lastly, board members, I share with you a handout, and if you're not in person, I'll email it to you. I was in a professional development last week, and it's a budget resource that I think would be helpful for some of us as we get through this budget season. It's kind of includes a list of like guiding questions that you can use when we're reviewing the budget to consider how it aligns with our goals. And it's not really for the board, it's just simply a resource that I found for us. And so if you use it, great. And if you don't, okay. But we can certainly, maybe use it for the upcoming season. All right. I'll take any questions. I don't think I have anything else. Mr. Sokolovic.
Yeah, let's see how to say this delicately. The state has put us at a severe disadvantage in the superintendent search. It's also put Dr. Avery at a disadvantage as well because he's still in flux. This is not the conversation we came out of the state with. They have no right to stop our superintendent search, but if this board does not want to move forward with the search until we complete it, by the time we complete it, it'll be way too far into the season to even start an effective search. If the board would be amenable to ask Dr. Avery if he would be willing to sign a contract for 1 additional year and we start the search next year, because we shouldn't be rushing the search. So he knows we have secure employment for at least the next whole year, and keep the title interim or whatever for the time being, knowing he's got a secure employment, and then he will have a shot for a permanent superintendent. I think that might be beneficial because we have, seems effectively been stopped from doing our due diligence, but we have not been stopped. There's nothing saying we can't extend the interim superintendent's contract for a year. So I don't know if anybody would be interested in having that conversation in the future. I just want to put that out there because it seems to be a solution that we need to do, because it would be irresponsible at this point to keep going until we get the bylaws done, which is going to be somewhere in June, and every single superintendent will have a job by then. And in the interim, Dr. Avery could also be looking for a job and land somewhere there, and then we're going to be up Cruise Creek. And I'm going to put that out there for the state of Connecticut, for the commissioner, for the governor, anybody who's listening. You're making Bridgeport suffer with your actions. We need to move on. We need to have security for our district. Thank you.
I think any further discussion on this should go into our committee, so that, again, respecting current leadership and our process here. Mr. Traber? Microphone, just so you get on.
When would our committee be meeting to discuss that?
We can schedule something.
Okay, I would suggest that urge us to meet ASAP because 1, I think that's a worthwhile discussion to have. 2, did we get an answer on the search committee, the search firm?
Not yet. So we can discuss that in the committee.
Okay. Because I think both of those things need to be discussed ASA as soon as possible. With our technical advisor present would be fine with me. But I think that these are all matters that we should resolve as soon as possible. For all the reasons Mr. Sakalovic articulated. And primarily out of respect to Dr. Avery.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Benham?
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with what Mr. Joe Sokoloff he said about his comment in this time because I'm gonna, as a board member, I don't know what we're waiting for to search and do the process and whoever's gonna be Dr. Avery, whoever's gonna be, we have to do it as soon as possible. Why? Because I don't know why another town they really have the superintendent, they really do the job. In that Avery for the short time, they do it more than other superintendent we have another town, and I can challenge anyone, so it's not true. So it's time to begin process. I know it's gonna be in another committee, and I hope it's soon because I don't know why the state is holding when the state they don't hold another town do the job. So it's time to keep forward because it's about the kids. And I know Dr. Avery is doing extra miles, and don't forget nobody that he puts on his side, his family to take care of Bridgeport Public School. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'll send out possible dates. It does have to be noticed, so because it's a search committee, so it could be a Zoom or a Teams meeting or in person. Within the next week, we'll have something. All right, any further questions on any other aspect of that report? Ms. Esther Jimenez?
I had a quick clarifying question about around the bylaws. So initially, the requested bylaws were the 2000 series and 3000 series. Is that still the same?
Yeah, the bylaw the administration policies, yes.
Yeah,
The
okay,
regulations from the 3000 series.
thank you.
So I just want to make sure that my hand get acknowledged because I was waving at you and I thought
Oh,
you saw
sorry.
me, so I apologize. I just want to make sure because everything that you said, I wanted to put you to that, to let's pick a date. So you said it. So that's why I just want to make sure that I will be emailing because we need dates. So I appreciate it, Madam Chair. That's what I was gonna ask. Let's make dates now, but you're willing to do
Do
it.
it
So
through your emails.
look forward to it. Perfect.
I lost my agenda, hold on, there we go. All right, moving on. Committee reports. The operations committee met last Wednesday, the 4th. We discussed the playground at Dunbar, which will be on the agenda today. One of the playgrounds at Dunbar, looking for approval for its replacement. And then the other item we just discussed, just an update on the current budget. The current budget update, and our next meeting will be April 1st, 2026. Any referrals, Ms. Esther Jimenez?
I have a referral for the operations committee to review the transportation contract related to the cameras on the buses in hopes of determining if we can get some of that money for BOE so we can fund our transportation.
Seeing no other questions, referrals. Mr. Traver, Instruction Support Services Committee? Michael?
The Instruction and Support Services Committee was sort of snowed out. We deferred the meeting in favor of the ad hoc advocacy committee meeting last or Wednesday before. And so we're going forward with the regular schedule for this month, which will be in 2 weeks, the 4th Wednesday. So I have nothing new to report.
Any referrals? Sorry, to cut you off.
No, I was just, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be sitting down with Ms. Hughes for the items that I have on the agenda for this past month. I don't know of anything that was urgent. We did have AI and And I'm blanking now. Yes, cell phones, which is a hot ticket item up in Hartford on the agenda to discuss, just simply for discussion. And then there were some other items that Ms. Hughes had. And then I had been referred another holiday from Mr. Sikalovic, and Miss Esther Mara Jimenez said referred an item, and I'd have to go back and refresh my memory
Alrighty,
what that was, but I have it.
moving on, policy committee. Oh, sorry, Mr. Medina,
You said fourth Wednesday, correct?
Yes, sir.
March 25th.
the next meeting,
Share with you and us. March 25th.
the next meeting is March 25th for the instructor support services. Mr. Woodson, I don't see him online, so we'll come back to that. Ad hoc committees, Mr. Traber?
Well, we've had a very good month so far. We had our second ad hoc committee meeting, as I said, in order to accommodate the snow. To when the ISS meeting should have been on the fourth Wednesday in February. And as you've reported, alluded to, we had a tremendous showing on the 17th for the Appropriations Committee hearing. Tremendous showing of Bridgeporters and especially our students. A great group of students up there on the 17th for appropriations. And then again last week for the Education Committee meeting. In between, we had the Finance Committee meeting the preceding Friday. So we've just done really well. I calculated that at least no more than 10% of the people testifying last Wednesday were from Bridgeport. And so Bridgeport has definitely made a mark. And on top of it, you've made reference, but I want to underscore how impressive the Bridgeport students have been in these hearings, both in terms of the quality of their testimony, their presence at the hearings. It's just been really, you know, their demeanor, their testimony has been incredibly impressive, and people have noted it. And then last week, as you've alluded to, when some state rep from districts that shouldn't be asking these questions decides to go after a student instead of asking the superintendent or a member of the board, she was severely rebuked by the mayor of New Haven, various members of us. Ms. Gaines went after her at about 1:30 in the morning. You know, just about everybody pointed out to her how inappropriate her behavior was. And I just was amazed at how many people, and yet the students, as was pointed out, held their own, given that what she did was inappropriate. So Bridgeport really stood out that way. And Dr. Avery and I really did have a good time watching it because only one student was supposed to testify and the students took it upon themselves to rotate all four of them through. And the organizer from New Haven looked at us like, what's going on here? And we said, we can't stop them. We're not going to put a hook out there. And they really did a good job, all four of them. So it was quite, you know, it was a nice little bit of work on their own. So I think it's really impressive and we have a lot more work to do. We're meeting again this Thursday. We've put out notice. We'll put formal notice out tomorrow. I'm going to be talking to Danielle about that. I put out informal notice to people. We had met a week and a half ago we'll be meeting with our local delegation soon. The April 1st, the Finance Committee issues its report on new revenue, which we'll be talking about later today. April 2nd, the Appropriations Committee issues its report. So those are the two big reports that come out really at the end of this month. And then they spend another month all arguing about the legislature's report and what the governor wants. And in the middle of that, we'll be pushing and prodding and shoving and urging and cajoling and doing everything we can to influence the debate that goes on between those two major forces. And so that's really what our job is. So towards the end of this month, we want to be influencing the key players on those committees before they issue their reports. And that's what we'll be talking about later this week when we meet. I think that's
Any referrals?
pretty much covers it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Benahan, do you have any updates from the ad hoc for facility master plan?
Not really, Madam Chair. I believe everything was very clear. I know Mr. Garcia is going to present all the information about tonight, what we have in the meeting.
Thank you. Any referrals for that committee? All right, moving on. We'll go on to the CABE report. Ms. Estremera Jimenez.
Thank you. So for CABE, they're having the CABE Day on the Hill that is scheduled for March 11th, 2026, from 8:30 to 11. I can send out the link. We all should have gotten a registration link if you're able to attend this month, or message Danielle and she can help us register. March is also Board Member Appreciation Month, so wanted to extend thanks to all our fellow board members for all the work and that they do. March 5th was Read Across America Day. So there's suggestions to go into the classroom and read books with the kids. The Cape Journal, I believe many of us actually got it physically today. That's out so we can read it. And then the last bit that I have is that there's a finance webinar series. It's a 3-part series. There was one took place in January, another in February, and the very last one actually takes place March 19th. It's usually during lunchtime and it's all related to finance, how a finance budget proposal is developed, how it gets processed, and then eventually how we can provide oversight. And that's all.
Thank you. We'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Chair,
Oh, yes, Mr. Chamber.
could I add something that just occurred to me?
Sure.
For those of us that were up in Hartford the other day, last week, we had a session in the speakers conference room with the Bridgeport delegation. Initially, we were meeting with Representative Felipe, but over time, other members of the delegation joined us. And I just should add that at some point, Representative Staffstrom joined us and was just having trouble holding himself back to tell us that he had had a meeting with the governor's office that day, earlier in the day, and the governor was moving, sort of the way he described it. And he could barely contain himself with excitement that the governor was moving. Now, it didn't say anything more than that, but he was just so excited to say that. Anthony, you were there, and I mean, it was just this like, oh my God, I can't believe that the governor's moving on this issue. Didn't get any details, but it's just, we're having an impact. And that's really what I should have said earlier. I apologize, but it's just, you keep pushing and pushing and pushing because we're having an impact. Sorry.
All right, thank you. We'll go on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Avery.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. I have a couple of talking point bullets I'm going to be emphasizing during my report. Again, this month is Board Recognition Month for our board members, and I wanted to kind of take this moment to recognize the board for their hard work. And so I would like for everybody to join me in recognizing our board for their hard work. I know there's a lot of hours, no pay, but we appreciate what you guys have done. We've come full circle as a district, under the leadership of the board, so we're looking forward for great things to happen. In addition to this, our current year calendar update, one of the things I think I've been getting a lot of phone calls, emails regarding what are we going to do about the makeup days. And so tonight we are presenting the approval of our current year's calendar update to account for the snow days that we had to miss school for. Families and staff have been anticipating this adjustment as they begin planning for spring and summer breaks. So we appreciate the board's timely consideration as one of the agenda items for tonight's meeting. The 26th and 2026, 2027 school calendar is also going to be, we'll be seeking approval for that calendar this year as well. Finalizing next year's calendar now provides our staff, families, and community partners with the advanced notice they need to efficiently plan for the year ahead. In addition to that, the chair talked a little bit about policy updates, and that's been a real focus of not only my team assisting the board in developing the policies, but Series 6,000, 9,000, and some of the 2,000 and 3,000 policies. We're bringing forward revisions of the 6,000 and 9,000 series this evening. These updates are essential to strengthening our internal processes and maintaining compliance with state expectations. I wanted to extend my sincere thank you to the policy committee for their collaborations, commitment, and efficiency in helping us refine and streamline that work. And again, we had a lot of conversation about the advocacy. Our students were amazing. It was really great for me to have an opportunity to spend time with them. A lot of them were nervous before it happened, but when they got on stage, they performed, and it was like they were like experts up there. Very articulate, very poised. I have a lot of superintendents and people at Hartford those days that came up to me and told me how great they were. And so as a superintendent, that's one of the best things you could ever have when people come and talk to you about your students and what they do and how they carry themselves. So again, thank you again. And that's very, very important for us. I think we have a video that we wanted to share with you as well. Sam?
Hi, my name is Anju Manara Chaudhary, and I am a senior at Fairchild Wheeler. I'm here today to advocate for the funding for Bridgeport Public Schools, specifically the Education Cost Saving Grant. That grant kind of pours into the education, and it needs to be reevaluated to include a higher foundational cost, as well as remember that Bridgeport is a community that has a lot of need-based children, so we would need more funding.
Hi, my name is Delani Shepard. I'm a junior at Central Magnet, and I'm here to advocate for increased funding for Bridgeport Public Schools. I've lived in Bridgeport my entire life, so I've seen the effects, and I feel that there are a lot of individuals that need the support and the resources in order to prosper in the future.
My name is Jad Abuhaika. I'm from Bridgeport Military Academy, and I've come here to advocate for the Bridgeport education system funding, and just to share a few experiences that I've had from BMA.
As you can see, this is an exciting day for Bridgeport Public Schools. We've had student voice, as you just heard, to come to Hartford to advocate for funding for Bridgeport Public Schools. The students have a very passionate opportunity to give their testimonies this afternoon, to talk a little bit about the needs and the services that have been taken away over the last couple of years from Bridgeport Public Schools. That's a short version. There's a longer version that's going to be promoted in social media this afternoon after this meeting. But again, it gives you a little taste of what happened and what kids were. I have Mr. Feeney is going to come up and introduce a couple of students, and you can bring them up. And I wanted to kind of give them an opportunity to kind of have a face to the names. Feeney, introduce yourself and.
Good evening. I'm Jason Feeney, the assistant principal at Fairchild Wheeler campus. And with me, I have Israel Prevail. I did ask a couple other students to come, but they were unable to on just a little bit of short notice. But really, the past two events that we were able to come down, I brought about 15 to 16 students collectively, and encouraged a bunch of others to come down on even other ones and just to utilize their voice. I had some as young as the 10th grade, and then as old as 18 plus years old. And even those that are here serving on the Board of Ed student reps, your voice matters. As you know, even though you're a student, your voice matters. You're a powerful voice. Your voice echoes. We hear you, and Hartford hears you. The state hears you, and that's what I've been trying to encourage my students, that you may be one, but your one voice could be the one voice that is the one that is heard. And so don't feel shy that your one voice is just the one voice, because that's the one voice that may be the one that's needed. And so that has been my message. So I'll let Israel Prevail share his experiences the past two times, and he's also been a member of the ad hoc advisory advocacy meetings as well.
My name is Israel Prevail. I'm a senior at Fairchild Wheeler. My experiences have been immensely rewarding, and so far to the wisdom that they've provided of public policy and public speaking, alongside advocating, specifically from the ad hoc committees. I've been granted a multifaceted education that I couldn't have asked to be provided greater than here. I want to thank Mr. Dr. Royce Avery and Mr. Traber, thank you. It was a great experience. The first time we really rallied together, the whole district, and it was lovely to see all students come together in such an intellectual way, not only using the pathos, but also the logos to not attack, but to persuade the representatives. And it's important that we keep our foothold. We need to stay in our efforts and besieging the state until we get not only what we should be granted, but what we're entitled to, as per the ECS's language. So I had a great experience, and I'm sure the other students will talk that they had a great experience. And thank you.
Can you share with the community your plans for when you get out of high school? What's happening?
I'm in Army Reserve. I'm in the Army Reserves as of now. I finished basic training over summer, so this summer I will be going to AIT, Advanced Individual Training, to learn how to be a paralegal for the United States Army. I'm in the Army Reserves, so I will be a full-time student, part-time soldier. I will be majoring in accounting and minoring in economics, and alongside that, I will eventually be a politician, God willing.
Go ahead. Good practice. Awesome. Congratulations. I have a couple more things for you. We also had a notable engagement recently involving the community partners. We had about 15, 16 community partners that met with me. For the purpose of this meeting, we really tried to make sure that they have a deeper understanding of the current needs of the district. I provided them with an overview of our current budget proposals that we presented to the board. I wanted them to be able to ask me personal, internal questions about what they needed from the school district and what we needed from them. And so we really pushed the advocacy piece for them to step in the game with us, to fight this fight with us. And so I had a great turnout, was very, very appreciative of the community partners, looking forward for great things to happen. Carly and her team did a great job of rallying the troops, and the more people that we get engaged in this fight, the better. And I think that's really been the focal point for the last couple of months here. It's really making sure that that the clarity is given to the community members as they help us to fight the fight. In addition to that, as you see, there was a trophy right there. Where did it go? And I wanted to kind of congratulate Ryan Rapice in the debate league. They went up to Boston. They received fourth place at the Boston debate tournament. And these students was the first time that they were debating. And a lot of the kids in Boston public schools have a lot of experience in debating. And so I just kind of wanted to kind of, say congratulations. They gave the trophy to me to put in my office for everybody to see. And so I think it's really, really important that we highlight them. Ron Rapice has been very instrumental in building debate and debate leagues. We got a $75,000 grant from the state, regarding to help support the debate league. And so he's doing a wonderful job, and kids are grabbing hold to it, and they're really enjoying this thing. And so we're getting first time debaters in the league, and trying to make sure that they're equipped to doing really, really great things for our kids and for the district. And so again, we thank Ron and his sponsors, and also the teachers that are coaching those students as well. So again, that ends my superintendent report, and I'll take any questions.
Mr. Traber?
Yeah, I just want to, I don't normally do this, but I believe Senator Gadkar Wilcox was a part of that too. And
Yes, sir.
credit should be given.
Actually, Senator Wilcox was very, very instrumental in getting those
Also been
funds for
very
us.
helpful with us on the
Absolutely.
advocacy stuff too.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Skolovich?
Yeah, I just want to touch upon something. I just discovered, as far as clarity around the budget, School and State Finance came out today with the projected increases based on SB 7, and it's less than expected because of drop in enrollment. We got to check the numbers to make sure they're accurate, but I got a response that looks like less than $6 million rather than 18 if we had the same enrollment. So I sent an email to both of you and Mr. Unquo to check it out. So if we're gonna, I think
He's looking at the numbers. And our enrollment did decline a little bit. I'm not for sure exactly.
by 7:30.
Yeah.
But yeah. Right. Yeah, so I did send you and Mr. Unquo an email with the information I got from the School and State Finance. So we need to get that number as soon as possible. We know exactly where we're at and where
Okay,
we need to go.
I'll take a look at that, and him and I will dive into it, and we'll kind of give you a report on that.
And I know it's a little late for referrals, but I just got the information. I would like to refer it to the operations as well.
Any other questions for Dr. Avery? I just want to acknowledge Mr. Woodson has joined call online. Seeing no other questions, we'll move on to new business. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the 2026-2027 Healthy Food Certification. I know Mr. Steele is online. Yeah.
Hi, good evening. My name is Keoma Steele, Director of Food and Nutrition. What I have is the Healthy Food Certification for the 2026-27 school year. We require the board to recite vote 1 on page 2 and agree, and then on page 3 we would need you to recite the combined beverage and food exemptions.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
do we need to read vote 1, 2, and 3, or just?
We just need
Vote
to-
1 and then
Vote.
vote, and then on page 3 the combined vote.
So we just need to read the first one and then.
I
Go ahead.
move. Is this properly done?
Yeah.
Mr. Steele? I move pursuant to CGS section 10-21 SF, or 5F, sorry, 10-215F. The Bridgeport Board of Ed certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups.
Is there a second? Second, Ms. Estromero Jimenez. Any debate? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Mr. Benahan is abstaining. That passes. Can you read the second motion?
I move the Bridgeport Board of Ed will allow the sale to students of beverages not listed in section 10 dash.
Pause. It's actually the one below that one. The combined. Yeah.
My mistake. I thought he said vote 3.
Mr. Steele, to confirm, is the combined? Or is-
It's the combined, apologies.
I will start over.
Mhm.
I move the Bridgeport Board of Ed will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards and beverages not listed in section 10-2221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food and beverage sales.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Medina. Any debate? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Mr. Benahan abstains. Thank you, Mr. Steele.
Thank
Next,
you.
Next, we have the approval of the contract here. I started for you. John, I started for you. Uh, Next, we have the approval of the contract with Compton for the playground replacement at Dunbar School. Ms. McCarville?
I'd like to make a motion.
Been moved by Mr. Medina. Mr. Sakalovic seconds it. Is there anything you want to just say since you're here? Any further, a question for Ms. McCarville?
What's the motion?
The Dunbar replacement playground. Seeing no questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. It passes. Are you here for decommission too, or? Oh, Mr. Garcia, I see him now.
Good evening.
All right, the next item is the approval to decommission Bassett High School. Mr. Garcia.
So we had a healthy, good evening to everyone, and it's been inspiring with all the youngsters speaking on their advocacy and what they're doing in the future. Just wanted to say that because, you know, they deserve as many shout outs as we could give them. So we had a healthy conversation at the operations committee discussing the ad hoc committee discussing the decommissioning of Bassick. You know, we had discussed the condition of the building, the fiscal ramifications of carrying the building, and we discussed the fact that we really wouldn't have a usage that we can fit into a building of that size, and the cost to do so or to carry the building will be astronomical to us. So this evening, we're hoping that we can get to a point that we vote to be able to move this building back to the city of Bridgeport.
we have a motion or any questions first from that motion? Is there a motion? Mr. Traber has made a motion to decommission Bassett High School and return it to the city of Bridgeport, and it's been seconded by Mr. Benahan. Any further debate on this? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
No.
Mr. Medina, Mr. Sakalovic opposes. Any abstentions? The ayes have it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Thank you, Ms. Carvel. Next hot item, approval to update this year's school calendar. Dun, dun, dun. Who's presenting? Oh, Mr. Grappa. Good luck.
Yeah. Evening, Madam Chair.
Microphone.
Mike, sir. Mike, please. There you go. All right, good evening, Madam Chair, Board. Today, we're going to be talking about the update of the 2025-2026 school calendar. As we know, with some of the snow days that have occurred, and we had pipes in some schools that had froze, based on state law, we have to make up and we have to have a minimum of 180 days. With the 180 days, not that I want to do this, but want to pass it. Yep. So with that being said, we decided to, at this point, have a discussion with both the BEA and BCAS, as well as our, some of our staff, Dr. Avery included, Marge was included in it. And one of the things we came up with was the best way that we can handle these days off. Bassett High School and Marin School are the two schools that have to go an extra day beyond. They have really 3 days that they have to make up. The rest of the district has to make up 2 days. In our discussion, although the calendar did say that the last day was going to be, or as it's put, the absolute last day would be the 23rd. We actually want to make an amendment to that, knowing how late it is in the school year, knowing that after speaking with the BEA and BCAS, if we try to go into and touch the April vacation at this point, we don't feel we'll have enough staff because they've already made plans. It's already late in the year. We don't feel we'd have enough substitutes at that end to be able to support what's going on in the school. So our proposal would be to take this and make the absolute last day the 29th. Now, the reason we are making it the 29th is not that we're going to the 29th. Well, I don't want to come back here again and have to ask for another day, God forbid, if another pipe breaks or if something happens in one of those two schools where something happened already. So the proposal, there is one mistake on the calendar where it says the 25th. Well, it says the 25th is the last day of school, except Bassett and Marin. And right after that, it should say the 26th would be the last day of school for Bassett and Marin. So we're proposing that on the 25th, that becomes the last day for everybody except Bassett and Marin. Bassett will then, and Marin will come back on the 26th to finish up. And that would be the end of the school year. We want to make the 29th the absolute last day in case something happens to those schools. And that's where we are with the calendar. With your approval on this, then we can start, because we were waiting on the approval to be able to talk about graduation dates and all the other things that need to come out. Here, we feel that there will be less impact because it is at the end of the year rather than, again, trying to tap into something that's a little too late, in my opinion.
Mr. Sakalovic.
Yes, when we initially approved the calendar, how many days were on there? 181 or 100?
There was, my recollection says there was 181. By state law, we were asked by the state, why are we doing 181? We should be doing 180 days as a minimum. One of the issues is that with some of the holidays and the way that it went based on some of the snow days and the other things that occurred, we were scrambling, just like every other district, to try to make up those days. We have to, by state law. We felt that this was the best approach that we can take together as a community and as a unit. I think it's fair enough to say that we took in consideration, the parents, the schools, the teachers, the administrators, and our staff who, obviously made plans at a certain point and figured this may be the best way to approach it.
Okay, another question. Now, this proposal, that's including a total of 181 days or a total of
So
100?
this is still 180 days. We added an extra day on only in case, God forbid, let's say something happened at Bassick or Marin. Well, that means they would have to go Monday. I'd have to come back and have a conversation with everybody about adding another day. That will be the absolute last day. That doesn't mean it's the last day. It's the absolute last day that we're talking about.
But, yeah, I don't think I'm answering my question right. We're only trying to get in 180 days before the end of.
Only 180 days.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chamber?
Okay, I'm confused.
Okay.
Let's try this again. How many schools are gonna go to the 29th?
0.
Okay. How many schools are gonna go to the 26th?
2.
All the rest are gonna finish on the 25th?
Yes.
And that would be 180 days
180 days
for all of them.
for all.
And both unions have agreed to this?
Yes, they have.
Now, I know that in the past, when we've done this, we've had a problem.
Mhm.
Because we've had people who have already purchased tickets.
Mhm.
I understand what you're saying about people who have made plans for the April week.
Mhm.
But I also know we have people who have bought tickets for June.
Yeah. Jeff Morrissey and I had that conversation actually this morning. And we felt the impact would be lighter at the end of the year than it will be for the April.
But you anticipate being accommodating,
Yes.
because that is gonna be a problem.
Yes.
That will be a problem, I guarantee you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Ms. Estramar Jimenez?
I have a few questions, and then comments. So what prompted this change? Was it many people reaching out to the superintendent's office and asking?
Yes.
I did read,
Yeah.
last week on the Connecticut Post, all the different schools really trying to figure out, okay, we've had so many days off, where are they gonna come from? So-
We try from a half-day perspective, if we can get it in, half-day pretty much counts as having a full day of the hunt. So anytime Dr. Avery can do that, the last snowstorm we had, I happened to be on the road coming in, and George Garcia and myself had a discussion with Dr. Avery that it wasn't safe at that point in time when we were on the road. In some cases, you're going to get that we have to look at student safety first, understanding that we're going to have to make up an extra day. We just didn't feel that it was safe enough for us to allow children to not only get on a bus, but, go to the bus stop, which it was so icy at that point. We took in the student safety first.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And I will say, this year you guys have been on point with calling the days off, honestly. So I have a few comments about this. First, I'm a little bit hesitant on taking, adding days to the end of the year because we were very clear that any days off will be coming out of April. And in my perspective, I'm thinking, well, if we add more days to the end of the year, we have schools that don't have air conditioning. So towards the end of the year, we've had to call half days before.
Mhm.
And
They are half days, just so you know, at the end of the year.
yeah.
So those 2 days that they're making up, they would be half days at the end of the year. You know, take it for what it is, but after our discussion and we've heard how many teachers were going to be on vacation, we did feel that the students would be impacted by, at the end of the year, I'm not saying they're not, but they have a lot of things going on, graduations, other things they do with children at the end of the year. I don't know if the impact will be as it would be during the vacation, which we may not have any teachers for certain, and you would have a whole bunch of students in an area that we were thinking safety also.
Right. I'm just thinking, we also had many half days off last year in June of
20.
last year. And a lot of kids didn't come to school because it was almost a burden to take them to school for only half day when it was hot in the summer. It's easier to just keep them home. So the concern is we're going to have increased absenteeism in June because of that. So it's almost like, hey, April, the weather's not so hot. If we just add in Monday and Tuesday of the kids having to go to school Monday and Tuesday and then having Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off, they're still
Going to get the
getting
absenteeism. You're still going to get the absenteeism when you look at it. It's just, when they had the week off, as we figured, if we give them the week, that's the week. When they're coming back and having to stay with us till the 25th or 26th, it's not really that many more days in the year. Those who are coming to summer school, most, I think, buildings will be air conditioned, but they'll be waiting outside too for the buses and getting picked up. Uh, you know, as a collective unit, this is what we felt would be the best for this year. That's why I'm approaching you with this. This wasn't just my decision or Dr. Avery's. This was a collective decision that was made by the unions and ourselves, that we feel that in order for us to, finish out the year strong and do what we have to do, this would be the best calendar for us.
Good chair. Just to clarify a little bit too, and one of the things that's happening as well, guys, is that when the weather decisions are made, those decisions are made at 4 a.m. in the morning. So I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning with probably 15 to 20 other superintendents around Connecticut, around this area at least anyway, talking about what we're going to do. Some superintendents make good calls and some superintendents make bad calls. And as you may have recognized, one of the last times we made a weather decision, Bridgeport made a good call. Some districts around us made a bad call, and they had to go publicly to apologize to their communities. And I wasn't one of the ones. And so, again, it's always one of those gut checking perspectives because it's all about the safety. And as long as when my team makes that decision or when I make that decision, I have so many other resources that I'm listening to, but I'm like, okay, what about our kids walk to school? Their kids may not walk to school. So I'm having to kind of put that at the forefront of my decision that I make is like, well, I wouldn't want to walk to school in cold weather. But again, I think when I looked at the April break, when I talked to teachers and principals and union reps and union presidents regarding this, also talking to other superintendents, everyone's making these decisions. Do you take the April break or do you push it back to the end of the day? And I think probably 80% of the superintendents are pushing it to the end of the year, making that decision. It makes more sense to be able to do it that way because usually the end of the school year, they're half days, and we're in the morning and we're out by noon or right at noontime. And it's just one of those things.
Mr. Kolovich, your question?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, First thing, I was gonna say something else, but Dr. Avery, there's never a good call for a snow day. You're gonna piss off at least, excuse me, you're gonna irritate at least 40% of the population, whether it's the right call or the right. The only time it's a good call, everybody will agree with if there's 3 feet of snow on the ground and everyone say, oh, you should have closed schools. There's always gonna be the people that get irritated. That being said, back to the calendar. We received also a voice that hasn't been heard, but the board members have read all the emails. We've gotten significant number of emails out of Park City Magnet about students weighing in. I just want them to know their voices were heard. Some of them wanted summer, some of them wanted different options. Some of them wanted to like ask the state to like forget about the 2 days, which if I was in school, I'd probably be going the same way. But I would like them to know that they were heard in our decision making. I'm sure I can speak for everybody that we did weigh what we heard from the students in our decision making, as did the superintendent. And even though you may be disappointed, keep speaking your voice and keep telling us what we need to know.
Right.
Thank you.
Mr. Benahan and then Mr. Traber.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. PJ. You said that to be clear, for June 25th is gonna be the last day.
June 25th for all of the
The
schools except for
Bassick.
Bassick and Marin.
Okay, so when's,
That would be 26.
so when's gonna be the graduation?
They're still
Well,
working on that, they said.
yeah, we're
They're
gonna
gonna
work,
work on
that's,
that,
we'll
so-
have that next for you.
So we don't know what the day either the school had to be working with the prom. And I really don't agree with the situation. I'm gonna explain why. I know parents and staff, they already have the vacation ready
Mhm.
for months, you
Mhm.
know. And I know we have staff that got special education kids. They really have prepared to get a vacation. They really buy tickets, you know. As Ms. Martin Jimenez say about some school, the AC don't work at all.
Mhm.
Not because we got new schools, the good AC is good. We got schools, the AC is terrible. They cannot open the windows. You know, the summer is terrible, and we all know that.
Yeah.
And then and it's not good at all. And then, like I say, when it's a mother nature, we cannot control that.
Mhm.
I feel we cannot control that. And it's very easy that you guys work very hard and understand everyone. But when they come from the state, say, oh, the state decided, the state want this and everything. The state, they don't know what we go through, all the stuff that we're going through when it's in the room with no AC. As a parent, if I have my vacation ready, I know I'm leaving the vacation. And I know all the students from Bridgeport Public School, they're very smart. Our staff work phenomenal. They give the 150% to be sure our kids that have the, you know, the education. And then trying to change everything, I don't find that fair for our staff and for our students. I know we receive a lot of emails from the students, and that's a very concern.
Mhm.
And I would respect the parent, whoever said, listen, my son's not going to school because I already have the vacation ready, I already paid for this. Some airline, they don't give it to you back the money. Or if they give a refund for, let's say, give us example, $100, they will give it to you $25 back. So they're gonna lose money because the weather situation, like I said, we cannot control the weather.
Mhm.
It's God's situation. But I'm not, this extra day, stuff like that. Right now, we don't know their graduation. People, they're ready after graduation to do whatever they have to do. The prom picture, it's a lot. It's a lot that Dr. Avery and your team, you're gonna receive calls and we're gonna see emails and everything. But I'm not agree this situation to stand to like no. I just prefer to stay the way it is because I know our students are very smart. The weather, we cannot control it. It's part of the God. So like I say, family have plan to do. They're ready to go out. So that's my opinion. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Traber, do you still have a question?
Yeah, I actually had a comment, which is that I think this is the best solution. As Mr. Sakalovic said, we heard from some students. I heard from a lot of staff too. And, you know, there is no good answer. The fact is, whether it's families or staff at the end of the year, they just won't show up. They're just not gonna be there for those last 2 half days. And they're not gonna miss a lot either, quite frankly, because you're packing up your classroom, you're cleaning up your classroom, the grades are in. We all know that. You know, frankly, if I recall, I worked in one of those second floor hot classrooms without air conditioning at Blackham. And you're watching the World Cup this year, if you're lucky, up on your big screen. And,
Telling all your secrets, I want you to know that.
listen, I'm not, this is not magic here. This is the end of the year and you're packing up your classroom. You got a group of students that are helping you pack up. You got a group of students that want to watch the World Cup. And, you know, you're getting things ready to go. And there'll be some that might not show up to school. And, you know, it's just, it's the end of the year.
Right.
And that's the smart place to do it because in April, if you try and bring them in April, you mentioned you won't have the subs necessary to cover the missing staff. Learning won't happen anyway, because you're going to have all the problems that you just outlined, articulated, logistical problems. And so it's smarter to put it at the end of the year and deal with the problems that make sense. And frankly, if it was the 23rd and 24th, you'd still have that same problem. Now, I have a problem with the way you lay out the schedule. This absolute last day of the year stuff should be just not on that schedule. It's just, why do you say absolute last day of the year? Because then people look at that and say, okay, it says absolute last day.
Right.
I'm gonna make my plans based on that. Just take that garbage off of there. Because we
I'm
all
good if
know
you're good with
that
it.
when
Yeah,
the Lord strikes with a storm, you're stuck.
right.
And
That's
we
right.
had a winter like we haven't had in probably a decade this year. And I looked at the snow totals recently and it's probably longer than a decade since we've had snow like this. So just take that garbage off of there because it's just, it's deceptive. It just misleads people.
I think
And the
it's always,
reality is,
it's always on there though, every year. It's on there every year.
well, just take it off.
It doesn't have to
Because
be.
it's the last day that we
It's
can
just
go.
it's deceptive to people. And it just makes people make plans based on the language. And it's just, you know, it's all, you know, put an asterisk that said it's all subject to the weather. And what happens? This is all subject to change depending on the weather and what, you know, because it is true. We all know this. And I remember talking to a teacher this year who said, boy, I hope we get another snow day. And I said, well, be careful what you wish for. Because you got that second snow day and now you're praying that you don't get stuck with that hot room. And this is a school without air conditioning. So I just, this is a problem we run into before. I remember going to the end of June before. So it is an unfortunate situation for these students who are now looking at it, for the teachers that are now wondering about it. It's just, it's a tough situation to be in. And I think this is the right answer. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, through the chair for clarity, I think he makes a very valid point. I thought the same thing as well. So when we present the new calendar, we may want to just take that out, but that gives you a little bit more flexibility. And then you can always put at the end there about snow days may be considered, you know, added to the end of the year and just leave it open-ended. And it may be a little bit better for people to.
I'm good with it.
Kind of consider. So we can talk through that again.
Mr. Woodson?
I just have a small problem because I see sometimes, you know, the they like to post on Facebook, you know, the board of ed, you know, the page for kids to, you know, prioritize attendance and, you know, do stuff to help better their attendance. When it comes for other groups to make sacrifices so the kids could get a good you know a good education and you know, because everybody knows that Bridgeport has like the shortest class times in Connecticut. So now you're pushing days to the end of the year, half a days. You said it to, you know, I think Mr. Traber set this up. Nothing's going on in the end of the year. Kids aren't coming to school. So those are 2 days that you're gonna lose. You know, you're gonna add it, but those are 2 days that the kids are gonna lose on class time. So, you know, I mean, it's for kids already getting the short end of the stick out of the state. You know, that's just another slap in the face. Then you tell kids that you hear them when they advocate. These are the future leaders that are going to be in our city. You tell them that you're hearing that you hear what they're saying, but you're not listening to them. You know, how would you feel if you spoke up and you think that you're doing a good thing, but the people in charge aren't listening to you. You feel like you're advocating for nothing. That's gonna kind of discourage you from advocating because the people who are in charge don't listen. So, that's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the 25-26 calendar amendments as presented.
Second.
It's been motion made by Mr. Sakalovic, second by Mr. Medina. Any further debate?
That's a no
All,
for me too.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I heard Mr. Woodson opposed. Ms. Esther Jimenez opposes, and any abstentions? Mr. Benahan abstains. It passes. Mr. Sakalovic?
Yeah, motion for recess.
There's a motion for a recess.
Second.
Regina seconds it. We're gonna do all in favor, say aye. Your 5-minute
Aye.
recess. All right, we're gonna go on a quick 5-minute recess for those online. Ready? All right, we're coming back. Sorry, we went on a quick recess to celebrate a birthday in the room. But we're back and we're live and we're on to approval of the next year's school calendar for 2026, 2027. Mr. Carapa,
I don't know if this died. Hold on.
you got it. Got it.
There it is. Okay. All right. So the 2026-27 calendar. So we took some suggestions on this one. And a couple of the things we did. One is we took the April vacation and we aligned the April vacation with all of the other surrounding towns around us. So this year, the April vacation was a week before the surrounding towns had. And in this year, we aligned it with the surrounding towns. So everyone has their April vacation at the same time. The second thing we did on the calendar was in November, and we did take Maritza's suggestion of being able to put the report card conferences on the Monday and Tuesday of the Thanksgiving Day or Thanksgiving break, I should say. And what we felt is it would take up, instead of putting it the week before where it would mess up the week of instruction, we decided that it would have less impact on the Thanksgiving Day week. And those are the two major changes that we made, besides starting school, I should say, for all students on the 27th, which is a day earlier than we did last year, which was the 28th. I'll take questions on the calendar.
Are there any questions for Mr. Carafa? Mr. Salovey?
No, but as per Mr. Traver's suggestion, I agree with taking off the absolute last day, but perhaps like some sort of little asterisk with maybe a snowflake next to it. If there's 1 day, if there's 2 days, if there's 3 days, if there's 4 days, if there's 5 days, or something like that. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Actually, on this calendar, it says additional snow days after June 23rd when we made up during the breaks. So I don't know.
But February?
Yeah, it says on the calendar
You just take the absolute last day off and just leave.
that, but no.
Have we ever tapped into the February days rather than going to the end?
But it says February 11th, which is the Thursday.
Actually, in February, we never really did, but we can pull that off as desired.
I think that would make sense. I don't know what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, by then,
Yeah.
we would, the snow days after, yeah.
To hit that February.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
we're good with that. And must I say, we did work with, again, the BEA and BCAS and, Dr. Avery and Marge in the group to work together on this calendar also.
Mr. Benningham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This calendar get confused me. So you want to tell me the November 23, 24, that's a Monday and Tuesday, is going to be a report card.
Yes.
So when the report card after the 24th is going to be like a little vacation.
Yes, we have off for Thanksgiving. Yes.
So you think, my question is, you think people are going to come, for the report card, when they really know they can do Bible Square, stuff like that they can go to the teachers and an email, stuff like that. Because I'm thinking as a parent, Monday and Tuesday, and then Thanksgiving, I'll be gone starting like the Friday or the Saturday before the week.
Mhm.
So I know you guys are in the calendar, but I'm thinking as a parent, people that are thinking, and are very important that go on vacation. And the most important for me, the one that is kind of November 11, Veteran Day. So it's not holiday, it's nothing, correct me if I'm wrong. It's a session day, it's called a have a day or whatever it is. And I'm asking this,
Mhm.
as a family members are having a Veteran Day, they die for us and fight for us, that day is not off. So we can have the other day like a report card, all this we were talking about. But this import day is national, it's about, history, people die for us and fight for us. It's not day off, so I'm confused about that, but that 22 and 24, and then after that, Thanksgiving, trust me, people are not gonna say, I'm not gonna go for 3 or 4 days of vacation. I'm taking the whole week, or start the Friday before, Saturday before.
Yeah, so Mr. Benahan, I think that,
Oh,
gonna say-
historically, we've had Veterans Day off in the past. Last year was off. I mean, not off, on, we're here, observed, but we're here. Like, they're still in school. So it's not a day off for Bridgeport Public Schools. It hasn't been in the past few years.
No, I understand that, Madam
But
Chair, but it's still something very
It's not
important,
something,
very
yeah.
important. Yeah,
It's
that's what
observed
I'm
in the
just saying.
schools as it's highlighted on the calendar, but historically, it
I
hasn't been a day
understand,
off.
but it says something more important than, few other things.
And then the 23rd and 24th, I know Ms. Esther Mayor Jimenez recommended that, but a lot of districts are actually doing that as well, having the report card conferences that week. And to your point of people taking the days off, and for most half days, like absenteeism is high those days. So if you are taking those 2 days off, plus the 2 days, and they're skipping they're missing the days before because they call out on a
I agree with
half
you.
day.
I agree with you, Madam
It's more
Chair. And
absenteeism,
I understand that, but we have to understand that parents, students, staff, and everything, we going through a lot of situation. What we go in our United States, our city, economic, and then everything. We need to think, about them too. So, but they need to have a little, let it go, the stress that I'm saying. That's not easy. Either us, what we going through, it's not easy. So we need to, human. So I'm just thinking about as a parent, as a person, that's my comment. Thank you.
You want to add to that?
yeah, I just think that those thought processes came out, Mr. Benahan. I think the reality for us is we wanted to, from an educational standpoint, we felt that having a full week rather than having a day or 2 days and then a half a day, the week before would be a full academic week. And then going into this week, because the week is going to be cut up with, having the Thanksgiving Day, observation in the day before, that it made sense to look at a Monday and Tuesday since, and looking at it, parents could do the same thing anyway, which is to say, we're taking that week off anyway, and we're going to see the family. So we can't stop that. I do want to get data for everyone. That's one of the things we were discussing, actually, Margie and myself, on report card conference data, because there's been a lot of talk about parents going to report card conferences. I want to know how many you're going. So we're going to be starting to collect and take a look at numbers of parents. How many parents are physically coming to these report card conferences? Because I think it's important for us to know what the turnout is. It's, 2 times a year at that point. What's the turnout on both times? And I can't give you that because I don't have that data in front of me at this point. I'm sure the schools do. I'm going to see if they do and try to collect it, put it together. If they don't, that's an initiative that we have for next year, is to start looking at what do those report card conferences really look like as far as, parental, involvement goes in the schools.
Mr. Traber?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea to do the 2 days before Thanksgiving, and the Wednesday is a throwaway day in that sense of it's a day with kids come in for a half day and it's a difficult day. The way you just described, and I think that instead of messing up the week before with report card conferences, the half days and the craziness of those, makes sense to give it a try that way.
Yeah, the Wednesday they're off, just so you know, the 25th,
No, I
26th,
see it.
27th,
I
yeah.
see it, yeah. No, look, I remember having to negotiate for that day off to have surgery once. So I get it. So so I think it's worth trying, and see how it goes. And I'm actually somewhat surprised that we don't have the data on attendance. It is a worthwhile thing for us to keep track of, because I think that we're gonna be shocked at how low the attendance is for report card conferences. And we should know it.
We may, but I don't have it at the district,
No,
is what I'm
I get
saying.
it.
So I need to,
Yeah, and
collect that data.
We should collect it.
Mhm.
Because it is a good number for us to know. And so we're gonna get rid of the absolute down at the bottom.
Yes, we will.
We're gonna put a comment in about The schedule is subject to change depending on what happens with the weather.
Mhm.
And I'm good with this.
Just to clarify, the Red Diamond, those are just 2 hour.
Yeah,
PD,
for the
after
teachers.
Regular normal school
Yep.
day, okay,
Pardon me?
after the regular normal school day,
2 hour PD.
2 hour PD,
So at-
yes.
3 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Esther Mayor.
Oh,
I just have a quick question slash comment. So this past calendar that we just approved has the same verbiage that this calendar has, which says additional snow days after June 23rd will be made up in the following order, February and April. Can we just like strike that out as well? Because the calendar that we just altered had that same exact language. And so if it's not gonna be meaningful, why even have it there?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Is there a motion?
The motion just needs to clarify removing those two items at the end.
Mhm.
The motion needs to be clarified to remove those two options from the end of the calendar that's presented, and then you're good to go.
Mr. Sakala?
Motion to approve the 25-26 calendar.
27.
I'm sorry, 26-27 calendar as presented with the revisions suggested by the board.
Seconded by Mr. Traber. Any further debate? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Benahan opposes. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. That passes. Thank you, Mr. Parappa.
Thank you.
All right, the next items on the agenda, the first one is approval, these came from committee. Right, to suspend bylaws, so approval to suspend bylaw 9310 for the purpose of immediate implementation of the following policies. 1, library material review and reconsideration, 6161.12 and 1312.3. 2, library collection development and maintenance, 6161.13 slash 1312.4, and 3, library display and program, 6161.14 and 1312.5. Mr. Sakalovic?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve to suspend the bylaws 9310 for the purpose of immediate implementation of the policies you just mentioned. And I would also like to save time, move to item H to suspend the bylaw 9310 for the purpose of implementation of the following bylaws: committees 9130, committee of the whole 9131, 9132, committees and advocacy advisory committees, code of ethics 9271, code of conduct 9272, and civility code 9273.
So move, second.
Seconded by Mr. Medina. Any debate on that? So we're moving, the motion is to suspend the bylaw for immediate implementation of those policies. And then we'll go into those policies.
F and H.
Yes, F and H. Yes. Is there any further debate on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes have it. So we're moving on to item G, approval for the immediate implementation of the following policies. Mrs. Kalick?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to consolidate these three as they are definitely, the boilerplate, basically state mandates, and it was discussed thoroughly at committee. So I would like to consolidate 1, 2, and 3 unless anybody has some objection.
Second.
Motion was made to consolidate G 1, 2, and 3. And it was seconded by Mr. Medina. Is there any further debate on that? To consolidate. Mhm. Both. It's most of the consolidate and pass. That's what you said.
Well, if somebody wants to ask a question about one of them, we could do it at the same time and just deal with it.
Is there any discussion on these?
Okay. I'll accept that. Yes.
I'll withdraw
I'll
my
accept the
second.
friendly amendment.
He's withdrawing his
I
second.
do.
Just remake the motion.
We make it.
Just remake the motion.
Okay, make a motion to consolidate and approve item G 1, 2, and 3.
A second.
Okay, motion to consolidate and approve G 1, 2, and 3, made by Mr. Kolovik and seconded by Mr. Medina. Is there any further debate on those motions, on those policies? All in favor to approve those policies? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, that passes. John, you have all that? Do you want the paper? Okay. Alrighty. The next item is, item I for approval and immediate implementation of the following bylaws. We have, one committees, 9130. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve item 1, 9130, committees.
Second.
Motion is made by Mr. Colvin and seconded by Mr. Medina.
I gotta look
Is there any further questions to this one, debate on this policy? This is on committees. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, policy 9130 passes. Next one is committees of the whole, 9131.
Motion to approve committees of the whole, 9131.
Motion made by Mrs. Kolovik, seconded by Mr. Benahan. Is there any debate on this one sentence policy? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? 9131 passes. The next item is committees and advisory committees, 9132 and 9133.
Motion to approve committee and advisory committees, policy number 9132 and 9133.
Seconded by Mr. Benham. My only, I do have something on this one. For the item that was amended in committee number 5 on standing committees, it reads be dissolved at any time by a vote of the board for standing committees. My question is, would this language imply that the same members exist if if we don't dissolve it? So it says be dissolved at the end, the original item would be dissolved at the end of the board's year.
Yeah, I recall when we debated that it was made, so, we have our standing committees to keep going, and then it would take an affirmative vote of the
Okay.
vote to change it. Is that recollection correct?
Yeah, I think that's right, but I'm thinking more of a membership of those committees. So the next year it'll be new members.
Well, the appointment by the chair is
Covers it.
dividing somewhere else.
Okay, you actually read above it, you're right. All right, my question is moot. Any other question or debate on that? Seeing none, all in favor for approval of 9132, 9133, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next one is Code of Ethics, 9271.
Motion to approve the Code of Ethics 9271.
Motion made by Mrs. Kolovik and seconded by Mr. Benahan. Any debate on this one? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Next item is Code of Conduct, 9272.
Motion to approve Code of Conduct 9272.
Motion made by Mrs. Kolovik and seconded by Mr. Benahan. Any debate? Seeing none. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? That one passes. Last one is the civility, no, that one? Civility Code 9273.
Motion to approve the Civility Code 9273.
Second.
Ooh. Motion made by Mr. Kolovik, seconded by Mr. Benahan.
They got loud.
Any debate on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. That one passes as well. That is the end of letter I. All right, moving on. The last item on the agenda is discussion approval of the Bridgeport Board of Education support for legislation creating long-term revenue in support of ECS. This was brought to my attention by Mr. Traver. He asked if I put this on the agenda. So I will let Mr. Traver speak to it. Microphone, please.
The, at the Finance Committee meeting last week, there were, week before last, sorry, Friday, a week ago. There were several pieces of legislation. The one that many of us testified to was removal of the guardrails. The guardrails that we hear referred to constantly basically are affect two things. One, the ability to change the ECS formula. That is to spend money beyond a certain point. And that's to make sure that the legislature doesn't get frivolous. I'm using that term loosely in spending money because essentially, as I think Representative Staffstrom said when he met with us up in the speaker's conference room, for about 80 years, the legislature didn't put money into the pension funds. And so when that representative tried to challenge our student about us being, what was the term she used? Mismanaging. If anybody's mismanaged funds, it's the state of Connecticut, not the city of Bridgeport in that sense, certainly not the Board of Ed in Bridgeport. Remember, we had a forensic audit done last year to show that we are quite good about how we spend our money. And yet she challenged our students about how we're spending our money. The state of Connecticut for 80 years didn't put money into the pension fund for the state employees or the teachers. The teacher retirement fund was not funded by the state of Connecticut. Legislators in the state of Connecticut were happy to spend that money frivolously for many, many, many decades. According to Representative Staffstrom, I think it was about 8 decades. And they finally realized they had to put some money in there because they had a big debt hanging around their neck. And so when they started putting that money in, they established these guardrails and said, oh no, we need to put this money into these two funds. And we can't spend it anywhere else. Those are the guardrails. That's one of the guardrails. The other guardrail is some deal that got cut when Governor Weicker threw gasoline on a fire when he passed the income tax that he promised he'd never do. And then he realized that an income tax was the best way for the state of Connecticut to go. A man of great courage, in my opinion. And probably get into John Kennedy's book, Profiles in Courage. He stood up for the right thing and passed an income tax. But a deal was cut for the wealthy people in the state of Connecticut. And they passed a guardrail. They established a guardrail that said, in order to pass new taxes on plain old people like you and me, you only need a simple majority of 50%. But to pass new taxes on wealthy people, you need a supermajority of 60%. Those are the guardrails that we hear so much about. And I'm offering a really simplistic, plain explanation, but those are the mythical guardrails we hear so much about, and they're about to expire. They were secretively extended. I won't go into the details. Many people think illegally extended a few years ago by secret agreement of the president of the Senate, the Speaker of the House, and the governor without any vote. But they were extended, but they're about to expire. Now, those guardrails we saw last year get bent several times. If there was a political will by the governor or the Speaker of the House, they were bent. But the guardrails, there's a bill about sort of let's get the guardrails out of the way. Now, there's two reasons that we care about the guardrails. The guardrails allow them to spend money, and they are sitting just last week. I think it was last week, Joe, maybe the week before. The controller announced $1.88 billion more added to the surplus. So the surplus is now up over $6 billion again. So there's this mountain of money in our surplus that we used to call the rainy day fund. When it's raining in Connecticut, we want to have this healthy surplus so that we're prepared to deal with crises. Well, we think there are crises going on for poor people in Connecticut. That includes education. And so we all testified about the guardrails and felt comfortable. What also was being heard before finance were establishing wealth taxes, taxes on the wealthy residents of Connecticut. And those wealth taxes, the first and foremost one was to establish a new income tax level. The highest income tax rate in Connecticut right now is 6.99%. That applies to me and other people. That's like, that's the highest you can get taxed. And so there's a proposal to add a new level for the extra wealthy people. It would not affect any of us sitting in this room because we don't make that much money. It would apply to the most wealthy people in the state to say, okay, we're going to have a rate of 7.99%. And that would be to the super wealthy. That would make Connecticut not as high as Massachusetts or New York yet. It would still keep us below Massachusetts and New York, but it would generate a great deal more revenue that would allow us, we've always said, we can use the surplus to pay for the ECS and other things that need to be done, housing, healthcare, other things that need to be done in our poorer communities with the surplus money. That'll take us a year or two. I reported to many of you that Senator Looney came to the CEA legislative breakfast Saturday a week ago and said, look, we can't do better than that $1,000 a year for 4 years unless we generate new revenue. The surplus won't get us past that unless we generate, and he specifically mentioned this income tax. But there are estate taxes and a few other variations. And so we are simply here tonight proposing a position taken by our board that says we support the creation of these new wealth taxes. Now, this has been our position for many of us all along. Connecticut for All, that we're part of as a coalition, has been advocating for wealth taxes. In the first couple of years coming out of the COVID, in the recovery from COVID, I think 13 or 16 billionaires that live in the state of Connecticut doubled and tripled their wealth. That meant the multimillionaires and millionaires in the state of Connecticut doubled and tripled their wealth. They're doing just fine. And as we all know, just this past year, the federal government gave them another boost in the big, beautiful bill. So they're really doing fine. And we're just suggesting that they could maybe chip in some extra money to help the rest of us do a little better. That's the point of the wealth taxes. So there were 5 bills proposed, and so we have a motion that I'm proposing we approve tonight that says the following. The Bridgeport Board of Ed supports proposed legislation which will create new sources of revenue necessary to support fully funding the education cost sharing formula now and any increases and adjustments made to it in the future. Specifically, the proposed bills in this session are, and these were the ones discussed at that hearing a week ago Friday, House Bill number 5187, an act adjusting the fiscal guardrails. That's the one we testified about. House Bill number 5133, an act increasing the highest marginal rate of the personal income tax that I just mentioned. We create another level higher. Senate Bill number 101, an act establishing a statewide property tax on certain residential real property. That's establishing estate taxes. And Senate Bill number 104, an act establishing a capital gains surcharge. So those 4 bills would establish new sources of revenue for the state of Connecticut on the uber wealthy, which none of us, I bet, in this room qualify. It wouldn't affect us. It would affect the very wealthy people in the state, the wealthiest people in the state of Connecticut. So I'm proposing that we pass a resolution tonight saying that we take the position that we support these bills. And that would enable us. I noticed Dr. Avery, when he testified, very carefully did not say anything about those bills, as he should have, because the board hadn't taken a position. If the board takes that position, then Dr. Avery is in a position to speak also. Others of us made a personal statement, not on behalf of the board, personal statements in support of these bills. But this would enable us to speak also on behalf of the board in favor of these bills. So I propose that we pass this motion to enable us to speak on behalf of the Bridgeport Board of Ed in favor of these wealth taxes. I've made that motion. Can I get a second for that motion?
So there's been a motion made in a second. But I just want to clarify that you're speaking for the board because I don't think the district can actually take that position. I don't know if that's illegal. If the district can say, we want the wealth tax, we have to look into legal on that one.
We
But
can't,
as a
we can't
board,
take a legislative position,
I'm
a
not,
position on legislation?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Probably should get legal on that to make sure that, like, that Dr. Avery could specifically say Bridgeport Public Schools wants this versus the board.
He works for the Bridgeport Public Schools. If the Bridgeport Board of Ed takes a position on a
Yeah.
piece of
That
legislation,
makes sense.
it certainly means he is. But I'm perfectly comfortable with you getting a legal opinion. That certainly is sensible in my mind.
Let me try to get Mr. Anastasi on.
But we can pass the resolution and then you can confirm with legal, pending a legal opinion as to exactly what he can say and we can say, but
Let me see. Mr. Daniels, did you have something? Oh, no.
I'm sorry, I'm on my phone. I was just, wait, did you all take the vote?
No, we did not. We're doing debate now.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Sakalovic?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with Mr. Traver's motion. I think we really should support it as a board. Notwithstanding of what legal tells us about Dr. Avery's position, we could still have it as a board position and go from there afterwards. I would only suggest the addition of, with revenue to be used to increase the foundation amount of the ECS as a dedicated.
says that.
Oh, it does, I'm sorry. I
It
apologize.
specifically says, hold on one second, let me reread it again. Supports proposed legislation which will create new sources of revenue necessary to support fully funding the education cost sharing formula now and any increase in adjustments made to it in the future.
Okay, thank you. That sounds.
Do you know off the top of your head, with in regards to what the taxes, do you know what the cutoff is for income? For folks who will be taxed? Is that in the legislation?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know the number?
No, not off the top of my head. I'd have to pull up the legislation to read it.
Well, I'm just saying, because if it's like $1 million, that's,
It's way up there.
that's up there, but if it's like 250,000,
It's way up there.
a lot, people make that in the district.
I bet there's nobody in the city that makes that kind of money.
No, I'm just saying, the difference is, I'm saying million is. Is he coming on? Any further debate? Is he coming on or? No, I guess not. We could do it pending legal opinion, ask him. You heard that, Tim? Yeah. Sorry, we're just consulting. I just said, what his opinion is, Mr. Pillow, if you have something you want to say, right?
Just to provide some clarity, because we can get Attorney Anastasi, although he can probably argue both points if you ever heard him. How the city council does this is, as the elected body and the board here is also elected, they do it from themselves. So they all sign on to a letter collectively as the elected members. Even in the past, the letter is not coming from the city or the city council, it's coming from the elected members of the city council. So I think you can do that here as the elected members of the Board of Ed. That's how they've done it in the past. Even when the mayor does a letter, it's not coming from the city of Bridgeport, it's coming from like the elected mayor. So
The resolution is from the Bridgeport Board of Ed.
I have not read the resolution from.
I just read it. I'm saying it says the Bridgeport Board of Ed supports proposed legislation. It's not speaking for the city.
No, I think
Yeah,
it
he's just giving us like.
just an example. So
Yeah.
the elected members of the Board of
Oh,
Ed, I think.
I wouldn't attempt to speak for the city council or the mayor.
No.
This would simply be our.
I'm just giving an example, Rob,
Yeah.
as how the city council does it. As the elected members, I think the attorney would advise the same thing. The elected members of the Board of Ed instead of the Board of Ed together. Just an example.
Got it. I got what you're saying.
I'm simply responding that I think that's a given in what we're saying, that we are the it is the elected members.
Yep.
We're not speaking for anyone else than this body. Yes.
Mr. Sokolovic?
No.
Okay. Any further debate and we'll take the vote? He's not coming on. Okay. Alright, so just, I could send it to legal, whatever the resolution is, to just clarify. If that makes sense. Okay. We could take the vote. Huh? Mr.
We're
Sokolovic?
just clarifying Dr. Avery's role. If
Yeah.
we take the vote tonight, because I'm testifying on Friday, I will be able to say,
Yeah.
Thursday, I will be able to say we are in support as a board of this policy, should it pass. Correct?
Yes, the board of ed, the elected
So that's all.
Board of
I
Education,
just wanted to clarify that because there is a testimony.
Boards.
on-
these pieces of legislation.
Any further debate? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Lamont Daniels abstains.
Okay. Any other abstentions? Okay, seeing none, that passes. That's it for new business. Mr. Bevan, you have something you want to say?
I have.
Yes. Just would like to invite the board and Dr. Avery and the cabinet. It's gonna be not yet official, but please have the day for Saturday, April 5th. It's gonna be organization they call We Are One, a section. They're doing Easter extravaganza. They want the city and the Board of Education work together. It's an Easter thing. So today we were talking with the city to try to get the permission about the park and stuff like that. Just to let you know now in advance so you can have that. We'll send you the information, Dr. Avery, so you can send to everyone and Madam Chair to the board. So everybody can be a part of this. It's a event for the community, Easter Day. So it's gonna be for, like I said, April 5th from 12 to 5 p.m. I will send you more details so everybody can come. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Where did you say it was? You said, he doesn't have a location yet. No location? No location yet.
Oh, I thought you said that.
Do you have something to add?
Yeah, this is a point of personal privilege. I did mention this to a few people when we did the, we did it central with the staff.
In it to win it?
In it to win it. I mentioned to a few people, I live on a 1-block dead-end street. It's been my pleasure to note that there were 3 teachers that lived on my street in the time that I lived there, but on that particular night, there were 2 teachers recognized. One in her 20s, teaching lacrosse, Kayla Cartagena, and one, oh darn, her name is not, Sandy Peslak's daughter from Reed. Sandy Peslak was a retired teacher from Reed who left us a few years ago and whose husband still lives on my street. And her daughter is Rossi. God, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name because I don't know her as well, but I was just so proud of my street having produced 2 Bridgeport teachers who were born and raised on my street that night, to see them up there getting recognized for their work in the Bridgeport Public Schools. And people talk about Bridgeport Public Schools with such disdain, but to have 2 kids who grew up on that street teaching in the public schools because they believe in it, one whose mother also taught in the public schools. So a very proud moment for my street. Thank you.
Thank you. Extra Mayor Jimenez?
I was gonna chat about policy, if policy's gonna give an update, because I have 2
Oh.
referrals.
Sorry, Mr. Whitson, we had updates earlier for committees. Do you have any, I know you have a long agenda this week, but do you have any updates for the committee? If you hear me?
Yeah, no updates as of yet.
Okay.
I guess just, get the new agendas out so people could look at and be prepared for the meeting, Wednesday. I'm sorry.
Wednesday, yeah. But Ms. Eshamera, Jimenez has some referrals. She'll read them out loud and you can follow an email.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these referrals are not new. It's just I wanted to bring them up again because I don't want us to lose momentum. So now that we've passed the 9,000 series, all of those documents this evening, I want to make sure that we go back and we continue our work with the other policies in the 9,000 series as well as those the 2000 series and 3000 series that Dr. Hughes suggested. So that's referral number one, just maintaining and continue our work and updating our bylaws. And then the second one is around the lottery transparency and really talking about how we can tighten our belts around the lottery process and the selection process, because there's way too many hands in that pot right now that we need to tighten up.
I think we put that on the agenda. Yeah,
And-
yeah, it's gonna be on
Okay,
this week's agenda.
excellent, because, okay, perfect. So I'll bring that up during Wednesday's meeting then. Perfect.
I forgot to mention earlier in my report, I think it was on a second page that didn't print. Next Monday, we do have a special meeting with our new attorneys from Shipman and Goodwin. They're gonna provide us a training. It's been noticed already, so you should have it in your, portal. You'll have the PowerPoint in your portal, so you can take a look at it beforehand. But it'll be next Monday at 6:30 at City Hall. You could join virtually if you need to. But it'll be our first meeting with this attorney. Seeing nothing else.
Chair,
Mr.
motion
Med-
to adjourn, please.
Thank you, Mr. Medina. Motion to adjourn, second by Mr. Sakalovic. Heard him first. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? We're adjourning at